Limbo is a game that has always intrigued me. The art style and just pure ambiguity seeping out of the mere title screen alone. While on my search for some new game to seethe my teeth into, Limbo was where I went. Which is ironic. The idea of me going to Limbo while also being in one myself. The uncertain time period I had between my last adventure and this one. But now, here I am. One thing I've come to learn about myself is that I absolutely love games of ambiguity. Essentially what that means is that things of multiple meanings or things that are up to interpretation absolutely stir my mind full of ideas and theories. Limbo, of course, falls in line. But hello, if it wasn't obvious enough today, I want to talk about 2010's critically acclaimed Limbo. A game that, as I've said previously, intrigued me. It was something that I haven't experienced before up until mere days of this video coming out. A game where at first I had no idea what I was experiencing. I didn't look up anything. I had no prior knowledge of what this game was to foretell. In this video, I want to give my personal analysis on the story of Limbo, along with showcasing themes I found interesting, and trying to understand this silent tale of life and death. This game released almost 15 years ago. I was but a very young child at that point, so I'm sure there's been millions of discussions around this body of work. But still, I hope some of my perspectives are some that maybe you haven't thought of before, or maybe you just enjoy my videos. That works too. But with all of that finally out of the way now, let's get into the dreadful ambiguity of Limbo. You awaken in a monochrome, grayscale forest. You are but a young boy. Your mission in this game is to find your sister. Nothing more, nothing less. I love this, the pure unknownness, being dropped into this world without a single bit of context. All you need to know is you need to find your sister. This game is a silent adventure. You won't hear a single voice line from your protagonist. You'll just notice his white, almost piercing eyes. It's your way of identifying him, just as you did when you first woke up. You start off in a gray forest, lying there and waking up on the player's command. In a game where you are to look and not listen for the story, I take every single bit of backdrop with a grain of salt. I've covered the idea of what a forest means before, but I want to reiterate that same ideology again, because this setting and every setting ahead of us is very important. Forests on a spiritual level are seen as places of renewal. They can symbolize the connection of the human world and the spirit world. They can be seen as places of finding peace and solitude, but they can also be seen as places of the unknown. The many trees and acres of suffocation from the land can bode not well for some. Multiple meanings can be used here, but I want to keep these many ideas in mind, as the forest is essential for the story. With the many themes of the forest and lack of context so far, we keep moving to find our sister. We traverse the world of Limbo, the dreadfulness hovering over us. As we keep moving on, we run into some things. Bear traps, dead bodies, and eventually a spider. Anomalies are just about everywhere, but the spider is the one I'm most interested in. This spider has to have some sort of meaning. It seems to want to stop us, as when captured it puts us in its cobweb and doesn't immediately kill us. The very definition of spiders can vary from person to person. Some may hate the idea of spiders, some might not mind. Spiders can have a variety of meanings, but I found something interesting whilst looking into the idea of spiders, something that might connect this spider down the road. It's a quote from a person named Sheena on a Quora post about spiders. I'll read it to you. And I quote, "In many ways they are beneficial in eating more harmful insects. Spiders are often associated with fate, creativity, and sometimes with a reminder to be aware of potential traps. Spiders know all the little nooks and crannies, and asking for their help finding something lost can work out surprisingly well. A lot of different mythologies associate spiders within creation." It's an interesting perspective, fate being involved with spiders. Is the spider trying to allure us rather than kill? Regardless, we keep moving forward. This is where the game's rabbit hole goes even further. After the escape of the spider's cobwebs, we traverse further, jumping over logs of dead trees until we seem to reach some sort of civilization. There's even people here. Some dead, some alive. Those who are alive seem scared. They're running the opposite of our direction, and I think this is very nice writing. Now it might not seem like much at first glance, but I love the way the game instills this kind of ambiguity here. I'll continue to use that word a lot, as there's plenty of moments that are up for interpretation. They even have seemed to build some sort of spider trap. For who? And why are they scared? At some points even flinging down boulders and tires attempting to stop us. They then even injure the spider by accident, with us then finishing it off. Honestly, at this point in the game, I had zero clue what was going on. There wasn't much to go off of either. There's plenty of things to interpret, but not much else. But that's what I love about this game. You're telling the story yourself. The game is your canvas. It gets the mind going, and it's a vibe unlike no other. At this point, we've covered some themes of the areas and enemies, along with asking questions that the game doesn't seem to want to answer as of right now. As we head into the next phase of the game, however, much more starts to come to the surface. We're past the point of the spider in the human civilization, and now we head into this cavern sort of area. There's these white parasites who seem to latch on to the other human-like figures. And a bit after that, the human figures are again running away with the intentions of trying to hurt our protagonist. And I had to wonder at this point, what does it all mean? And a bit after this point, we're now in a factory? And it clicked for me at this point. I've looked at the forest in a spiritual light as it's a natural place. It's been a part of Earth for however long, so there's some sort of natural occurrence there. But factories, they're man-made. So I had to look at the game in a more literal sense. A forest, a spider, parasites, and factories? I think I know. All of these prioritized themes of Limbo are nothing more than the boy's fears. This is almost a dreamlike state. I'm convinced of it. The paranormal activities, these are all an amalgamation of the boy's biggest fears. Forest, as I've said, can be places of stress and the unknown. Spiders are a big fear of younger children because of their looks. That's why the spider is so huge in my opinion. The boy's mind is making the spider way bigger than it really is. Even the other people running away, he could be scared of being alone. Or maybe he's scared of people leaving him, like his sister did. So all of these themes could have significant value to the story without saying anything at all. Or I could have totally missed the point of all of these themes in general, but that's the beauty of ambiguity in art. Regardless, one question still remains. Where is our sister? We traverse again, eventually reaching a new area, that of which is a hotel. This is the most odd of the places. It's the only place in the game where it's labeled as well. The only letters we see throughout the entire game is the spelling of the word hotel. There had to be something here. They wouldn't put a hotel here for no reason. They wouldn't just add this for fun. So I then took to the internet, looking and looking for some clarity behind this place because I just couldn't find anything. But I then took a step back and analyzed this game in a more literal sense. And once again, I think I found it. When you think of a hotel, what's the first thing that comes to mind? Is it a place to stay? A vacation spot? Maybe even a place full of different lives? While all of these are correct, I had one idea in mind. Hotels are places of temporary stay. A place you are to be in for a little bit of time before moving on once more. They represent a transient place. We will come back to this point, as it will make a whole lot more sense at the end. In the hotel, there is remains of a factory, it seems. This is the game's final area. As we traverse one last time, we are eventually met with the final puzzle of the game. Once completed, this is the scene that plays. This scene from an artistry perspective is one of the most ambiguous, dreadful, and just downright cold scenes I've experienced before. This scene summed up our story. We found our sister, but in the end we also found what the game meant. or what it was leading to this entire time. The title screen says it all. It's a full circle moment. We were in limbo. Limbo being a state of undecisiveness, or in a more cruel term, a state between being alive and being dead. The anomalies, the waking up in a forest, the title screen where we once were, it all but confirms this whole time we have been dead. Our mission, as I once said, was to find our sister. Nothing more, nothing less. This game was all but an anomaly to me, really. It's something that trickled every bit of my brain. It made me think literally and figuratively. It opened my mind to the possibility of infinite storytelling. This is a tale unlike no other. It's a shame that it took me almost 15 years to play, but better late than never, I suppose. Just wanted to touch on a few more things before I get out of here though. The hotel. I said I'll come back to this as it's very important to the theme of the story. I once said hotels are places of temporary stay, and in learning the full scope story it makes sense as to why the hotel is here in the first place. Limbo is a place of temporary stay just as a hotel is. We were in limbo for a bit until we found our sister, just as hotels are places of little stay. Could be a reach, but I thought it made sense. And lastly, I know I probably missed out on a ton of different things, but this is just my experience. The themes I saw might differ from yours, and that's okay. That's the beauty of ambiguity. I do plan on making another video recapping a bunch of Limbo's theories though. I want to touch on every idea this game has to offer. So if you have any theories of Limbo yourself, drop them in the comments below. Would love to hear what you have to say. This game was a piece of art, and it's something I can look back on and see why it's been so prominent for so long. If you enjoyed this video, why not like and subscribe? I make analysis type content like this for a ton of different games, so if that's something you're interested in, I think you'll like it here. But that's all for me. Thank you, everyone, for watching, and goodbye.